The rumble of Harleys echoed through the narrow canyon road, a thunder that never quite left the valley. The Iron Ridge Clubhouse sat like a fortress at the edge of town, all weathered wood and rusted metal, windows dark even in daylight. Inside, the smell of motor oil, stale beer, and tobacco hung thick. Chrome glinted from every corner, pipes, chains, buckles, all polished like battle armor. Through the front door walked Maya Cross, leather jacket zipped to her collar despite the Arizona heat. She was slight, maybe 5'4", with short dark hair tucked behind her ears and a face that gave nothing away. On her right wrist, just visible below her cuff, was a small tattoo, a single rose wrapped in barbed wire, the ink faded and uneven, like it had been done fast and rough. The joke started before she reached the bar. "Check it out," someone muttered from a corner booth. "Fresh patch trying to look tough with the prison ink." "Probably got it at a truck stop," another added, loud enough for the room to hear. $20 and a six-pack. A few members chuckled. Even some of the older riders smiled behind their beards. It was the kind of casual disrespect that passes for bonding in places like this. Test the new blood, see if they crack. Maya said nothing. She walked to the bar, set her helmet down, and ordered water. Her movements were calm, economical. No wasted motion, no visible reaction. Behind the bar, Dutch, the club's sergeant-at-arms, watched her with narrowed eyes. He was a mountain of a man, 50-something, with arms covered in faded ink and scars that told stories he never shared. He'd been with the Iron Ridge Charter for 30 years and had seen plenty of prospects come and go. Most of them talked too much or tried too hard. This one did neither. "You good?" he asked quietly, sliding the glass across the counter. She nodded once. "All good." At the far end of the room, Cage Ramsey leaned back in his chair, boots propped on the table. He was the club's vice president, 42, broad-shouldered, with a reputation for running the tightest crew in 3 states. He had jet black hair pulled into a ponytail and a gaze that could strip paint. He'd approved Maya's prospect status personally after she'd ridden solo from Tucson to prove she could handle the road, but approval didn't mean acceptance, not yet. "Yo, Cross," he called out, voice cutting through the noise. "That ink on your wrist. What's the story? Ex-boyfriend? Bad breakup?" The room quieted just enough to hear her answer. Maya turned, glass in hand, expression unchanged. "Just a reminder," she said. "Of what?" someone else asked. "Not to date bikers?" Laughter rippled through the clubhouse, not cruel, but careless, the kind that sticks because it's easier than respect. Dutch's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. He poured himself a shot and knocked it back, eyes still on Maya. She took a sip of water, set the glass down, and walked toward the garage bay, where a row of bikes sat in various states of repair. She didn't slam the door, didn't curse, just left the noise behind. The next 2 weeks passed in a rhythm that felt designed to break her. Maya worked the garage, rebuilt carburetors, changed tires, cleaned parts until her hands were black with grease. She rode sweep on every run, ate last, spoke only when spoken to. The mockery didn't stop. If anything, it grew more creative. "Hey, Rosebud," one rider called during a fuel stop. "You gonna cry if we don't water you?" "Maybe she got it for her grandma," another joked. Sweet little prison flower. Every time, Maya's response was the same. A brief glance, a nod, then back to work. Cage watched it all from a distance. He didn't participate, but he didn't stop it either. Testing prospects was part of the culture. If they couldn't handle words, they'd never handle what came after. But there was something about the way Maya moved that unsettled him. She didn't flinch, didn't argue, didn't try to prove anything. She just existed, steady and quiet, like someone who'd already survived worse and didn't need to explain it. One evening, after a long ride through the desert, the crew gathered at the clubhouse for a meeting. Business talk, shipments, schedules, territory disputes. Maya stood near the back, arms folded, listening. When the meeting ended, Cage called her over. "You ever going to tell us what that tattoo means?" She met his eyes without hesitation. "When it matters." "It matters now," he said. "You're wearing our prospect patch. We got a right to know who's riding with us." For a long moment, she didn't speak. Then she said, "It's personal." Everything's personal until it affects the club, Cage replied. You hiding something? Dutch stepped forward, placing a hand on the bar between them. Let it go, Cage. She's earned her keep. Tattoo's got nothing to do with her work. Cage's eyes flicked to Dutch, then back to Maya. He didn't press further, but the question hung in the air like smoke. The breaking point came 3 weeks later. A rival club, the Scorpions, had been pushing into Iron Ridge territory. Small things at first, showing up at local bars, making noise, testing boundaries. Then it escalated. One of their members got jumped outside a gas station. Another had his bike torched in a motel parking lot. Cage called an emergency meeting. The clubhouse filled fast, voices loud, tempers high. Plans were thrown around, retaliation, territory markers, sending a message that couldn't be ignored. Maya stood near the door, quiet as always, but this time Dutch noticed her hands. They were still, completely still. No fidgeting, no nervous energy, just the calm of someone who'd been here before. Cage laid out the plan. They'd ride out at dawn, 20 strong, and confront the Scorpions at their usual haunt, a bar on the edge of town. Show of force. Make it clear Iron Ridge wouldn't be pushed. Anyone got a problem with that? Cage asked. Silence. Then Maya spoke. That's a mistake. Every head turned. The room went cold. Cage's eyes narrowed. Excuse me? You ride in 20 deep, they'll see you coming a mile out, she said, voice steady. They'll either scatter or call backup. Either way, you lose the advantage. And what would you suggest, Prospect? Cage's tone was sharp, but there was curiosity beneath it. Maya stepped forward. You send 3, maybe 4, low profile, fast in, fast out. You want to send a message, you do it quiet, not with a parade. The room erupted. Half the members laughed. The other half looked offended. Listen to this, one writer scoffed. 3 weeks in and she's running tactics. Prison Flower thinks she's a general now, another added. Cage raised a hand, silencing them. You got experience with this kind of thing? Maya's gaze didn't waver. Some. What kind of some? She didn't answer right away. Then she reached up and slowly unzipped her leather jacket. Beneath it, she wore a plain black tank top, and across her shoulders, ribs and arms were scars. Not tattoos, scars, burns, shrapnel marks, surgical lines that cut across muscle and bone, the kind that came from explosions, from metal tearing through flesh at high velocity. The laughter died instantly. Dutch's expression shifted from curiosity to something harder, recognition. Cage stood frozen, staring at the roadmap of violence etched into her skin. What the hell happened to you? Maya pulled the jacket back on, zipping it halfway. I was a combat medic, 3 tours, Afghanistan. We ran routes through insurgent territory every day. Learned real fast that loud gets you killed, quiet keeps you breathing. The clubhouse was silent, not the uneasy silence of mockery, but the heavy, stunned quiet of people realizing they'd been wrong. Cage's voice was quieter now. And the tattoo? Maya's hand went to her wrist, fingers brushing the faded rose. My squad, 6 of us, only 2 made it home. The rose is for them. The barbed wire is for what it cost. No one spoke. The weight of her words settled over the room like a blanket. Dutch stepped forward, his voice rough. You were there when the convoy got hit outside Kandahar, weren't you? Maya's eyes flicked to him, surprised. I know someone who was in that unit, Dutch continued. He told me about a medic who dragged 3 soldiers out of a burning Humvee while taking fire. Said she kept working even after shrapnel tore through her shoulder. They called her Angel. Maya's jaw tightened. That was a long time ago. Not long enough to forget, Dutch said quietly. Cage sat down slowly, his usual confidence rattled. Why didn't you say anything? Because it doesn't matter, Maya replied. What I did over there doesn't change what I do here. I'm a prospect. I earn my place the same way everyone else does. The room stayed quiet. Then, one by one, the members who had mocked her looked away. Shame crept into faces that moments ago had been filled with arrogance. Cage ran a hand through his hair, exhaling hard. You're right about the plan. We go in quiet. 3 riders, you're one of them. Maya nodded. When do we leave? Tonight. They rode out just after midnight. Maya, Cage, and a rider named Reaper, a former Marine with a scar running from his temple to his jaw. The desert stretched black and endless under a sliver of moon. No headlights until the last mile, no radio chatter, just the hum of engines and the cold wind cutting through leather. When they reached the bar, the Scorpions' bikes were lined up outside, chrome glinting under a single flickering streetlight. Music thumped from inside, voices loud and careless. Cage cut his engine 2 blocks out. The others followed. They approached on foot, moving through shadows like ghosts. Maya led. Her steps were silent, her breathing controlled. She'd done this before, in places where a single mistake meant death. This was nothing. They reached the side entrance. Cage nodded to Reaper, who jimmied the lock in seconds. Inside, the bar was packed, 20, maybe 30 Scorpions, drunk and loud. Maya scanned the room, eyes moving methodically. She spotted the club president near the pool table, a man named Vic, 6'3" and built like a wrecking ball. 2 enforcers flanked him. Cage leaned close. "How do we do this without starting a war?" Maya's voice was barely a whisper. "You don't fight them, you embarrass them." She walked straight through the crowd, hood up, moving like she belonged. No one noticed her until she was standing right behind Vic. Then she spoke, loud enough to cut through the noise. "Vic," he turned, eyes narrowing, "who the hell are you?" "Iron Ridge," she said simply. The bar went quiet. Every Scorpion turned to look. Hands moved toward pockets, toward weapons. Maya didn't flinch. "You've been pushing into our territory. That stops tonight." Vic laughed, but it was forced. "You got some balls, little girl, coming in here alone." "Not alone," Maya said. She nodded toward the door. Cage and Reaper stepped into view, arms crossed, expressions stone. Vic's smile faded. "3 of you? That's supposed to scare me?" "No," Maya said, "but this should." She reached into her jacket and pulled out a small stack of photos. She laid them on the pool table, one by one. Each showed a Scorpion member at a vulnerable moment, getting gas, leaving a girlfriend's house, walking alone at night. "We've been watching," Maya continued. "Every move, every mistake. You want to push, we'll push back. But it won't be loud. It'll be surgical, and you'll never see it coming." Vic's face went pale. His enforcers shifted uncomfortably. "Or," Maya said, "you can back off, stay in your lane, and we do the same." The silence stretched. Then Vic picked up the photos, staring at them. His hands shook just slightly. "Fine," he muttered. "We're done." Maya nodded. "Smart choice." She turned and walked out, Cage and Reaper flanking her. No one followed. No one said a word. Outside, Cage exhaled hard, adrenaline still pumping. "That was insane." "That was necessary," Maya replied, zipping her jacket back up. When they returned to the clubhouse, Dutch was waiting. The rest of the crew gathered as Cage recounted what happened. By the end, the room was silent again. Then Dutch raised his beer. "To Angel." The others hesitated, then followed. "To Angel." Maya shook her head. "Just Maya." Dutch smiled faintly. "Not anymore." Cage stepped forward, pulling a folded leather cut from behind the bar. Iron Ridge colors, full patch. "You earned this 3 weeks ago," he said. "We were just too stupid to see it." Maya stared at the vest, her expression unreadable. Then she took it, running her fingers over the stitched logo. "Thank you," she said quietly. That night, the clubhouse felt different. The mockery was gone, replaced by something heavier. Respect. The kind that's earned in silence, in scars, in stories that don't need to be told because they're written in the way someone carries themselves. Maya sat at the bar, jacket unzipped, the rose tattoo on her wrist visible for everyone to see. No one joked, no one questioned. They just nodded when they passed, a silent acknowledgement of what she'd survived and what she'd brought with her. Weeks later, a younger prospect joined the club, cocky and loud. He saw Maya's tattoo and smirked. "Nice flower. That for your boyfriend?" Before Maya could respond, Dutch slammed a hand on the bar. "You see that ink? You show respect, you understand?" The prospect blinked, confused. "Why, it's not just anything," Dutch interrupted. "That's a memorial, for soldiers who didn't make it home, and the woman wearing it dragged 3 of our brothers out of hell and lived to tell about it. So unless you want to find out what real hell looks like, you shut your mouth and learn." The prospect went pale. "Yes, sir." Maya didn't say anything. She just took a sip of water, her expression calm. Because respect isn't demanded with words or ranks. It's earned quietly in how you carry the weight of what you've survived. Some marks aren't decoration, they're history written on skin, remembered in silence. And in the Iron Ridge Clubhouse from that day forward, no one ever questioned the rose again.